While many of us are scrambling to get our taxes done, there's big money news that could be impacting you if you're not paying attention. Interest rates are on the rise, and the Fed has signaled they could be going up even more in the near future. To talk about how that could impact you and your investments, Senior Wealth Advisor Brad White joins us on the floor. Brad, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here as always, Carlo.
Brad, we'll get to mortgages in a moment because everybody thinks about that first when interest rates go up. But interest rates impact investors in so many different ways and consumers. What do we need to be looking out for here?
Yeah, and as you know, Carlo, we've been talking about how inflation means one of the biggest tools the Fed has is when inflation happens, we want to raise interest rates. It's how you neutralize inflation. Frankly, we would have probably already seen some of these raises and even more raises had Russia and Ukraine not happened. That kind of caused interest rates to dip back in, but I digress. So when you think about interest rates rising, I think about a few things. One is I think about the safe investment world, right? Things like cash or CDs at a bank or bonds. So obviously, if interest rates were to rise, that's going to help that world. So if you're a conservative investor out there, if you're someone like a retiree, right, looking for a safe place to earn interest, it's been brutal, right? The last decade, and in particular, the last handful of years, you get absolutely nothing. So we are seeing rates on the rise. You're not seeing that, or at least I'm not seeing that in my local banks necessarily. But I, as an advisor, as I look around the landscape, I'm seeing certain 3-year investments and 5-year investments getting 3 or 3.25% kind of guaranteed interest over a 3 or 5-year period. So while that's not, amazing 10% or something like that, it's certainly a lot better than it's been a few years. And maybe if you've been holding on to cash looking for that, maybe now kind of keep your eye out as interest rates rise. Another thing I think of in that world, Carlo, is bonds inside of your portfolio, bond mutual funds. When interest rates rise, bonds lose money in the short term. And investors aren't really used to seeing losses because that's kind of the safer part of your portfolio. You've seen that the Barclays aggregate bond index is down like 7% year to date. The one thing I will say is we actually did a study and looked back at all sorts of rate cycles, even the famous kind of Jimmy Carter era, 1977 through 81. And if you held on to the bonds over the whole 4-year period of time, they ended up making money because as bonds mature, they'll reinvest and get higher and higher interest rates. So you'll see some short-term pain on that. But if you're a conservative investor, maybe don't abandon that entirely if it's part of a long-term plan.
You need some good advice to figure this out is what I'm finding out, Brad. I'm glad we have you on to kind of tell us just how much information we really do need. Now, of course, the real estate market in San Diego, it's been supercharged for the last few years. Cheap money, cheap interest rates have fueled much of that. With money becoming more expensive, is this going to be a big problem? Is it going to make it even harder for people to get in the market? Or do you think that prices might start to come down because people need to make that monthly payment?
No, I think this will make it harder. I wish I had a better way to sugarcoat that. Let's just be blunt about it. And here's the reality. The reality is our country is something like 4 million homes down as far as what the demand is. So there's a legitimate reason why home prices in this country are going up the way they are. The other reality is we live in beautiful, sunny San Diego, which means our particular market is always going to be in higher demand, right, than most other parts of the country, which means even if other forces are kind of happening, demand's probably here to stay. Now, will prices continue at this crazy rate at a straight line going forward? Higher rates hurts, right? I was taking a look at this, and if you wanted a $600,000 30-year mortgage at 4%, you were paying $2,865 a month. But if all of a sudden it's a 5% mortgage, you're paying $3,221 a month, so $356 a month more for the same house you were already looking for. So if prices don't come down, and I'm not sure they will, this makes it that much harder, which is not easy to do, but that much harder maybe to afford the same kind of already expensive house you were looking for.
Brad, I'm out of time, but I want to get a quick question in. If you are looking to take advantage of your equity, do you need to pull the trigger sooner because of the threat of rising interest rates? And I'm out of time. I hate to put you on the spot.
Well, meaning if you think you want to sell because all of a sudden houses are going to go down.
Second mortgage.
I just said no, not necessarily. However, if you're pulling equity out of your home, most equity lines are a variable rate, which means the other answer is still probably no, because even if you pull it out, you might still see the cost of debt rise even after you pull it out.
All right, Brad White, Senior Financial Advisor, thank you for all the great advice as always. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Very welcome.